Welcome to Feral Faith, where life is messy, but we're here for it all. I'm Cassidy.
And I'm Amber.
Two friends and moms just trying to survive and thrive in this wild, beautiful chaos.
So we invite you into our living room where things may get a little fierce and spicy as we press in. No sugarcoating here, just real talk, real faith, and wildly present conversations.
We're showing up and letting our roars out. So buckle up. It's about to get real.
This is Feral Faith. Well, we're back for another recording of our Feral Faith podcast.
Yeah, we are.
Super excited about today's discussion, or however it turns out to be.
Yeah.
We've already been a little spicy before we even got on here. So
yes, there's been some unpacking prior to us making it public that we're unpacking.
Yeah. So as you can see, we've already got the laughs. We're already looking forward to this discussion. We're going to talk about it today.
Yes. And not it maybe in the mainstream sense of something that requires a rating on this for it's not appropriate for children. We're talking about
parental advisory.
Yes. They discuss it.
No, we're not going to go there.
Yeah. So it's it. Amber and I got on this conversation of it. You know, we have dialogue with lots of different people. And when we share about
Hold up. You have other friends than me.
Not many.
I'm going to see you in a few days.
I know. Yep.
We're going hold you under the water.
Yes, till the bubbles stop. Oh,
what? Yeah. We live this relational thing with other people.
I know.
Oh
it's wild.
We try, right?
We try. We try. Well, that circles right back to it. So when Amber and I have dialogue with different women or just in general with other families about our relationship or what we're trying to bring forth in ministry, so many people are like, oh, I want that. I want it. I want it. And it's like, okay, but do you know what it actually means? Because so many people say they want to enter into that space with us, but have no concept of what we're actually speaking about. So Amber had a funny, when I said I'm going to try to talk about it, she's like, oh, cousin it? You mean like that guy? So I'll let Amber chat about him for a second because it was just so funny.
Yeah. So growing up, I had really long hair. So part of my growing up years, we were in a doctrine of Christianity that really long hair. And I used to comb it. I mean, it would take, it's like Little House on the Prairie kind of thing of like 100 brushes before I went to bed and braid it. I think there's a picture of me on the internet somewhere that a friend has to where my ponytail, like it's braided or ponytailed, is like all the way down to my butt. So when I would brush my hair forward, my dad was like, you look like cousin it. And I would put my, headband this way and just walk around that way. And so I didn't even know at the time, we didn't have television. We didn't have a lot of that pop culture in our house at the time. But my dad explained that there was this television show with this creature. And then, of course, over the years, we've come to find out it's a sitcom, and then they've made movies. And unfortunately, they got really dark, I guess, within the last couple of years of what it was. But it got us, Cassie and I, into talking about it. So I labeled it cousin it. But it got me thinking about, wait, I was talking to my husband because he knows all about pop culture for the most part. And I'm like, hey, what was the Addams Family really about in that time frame? And he's like, well, it was controversial, kind of dark humor. And I was like, so I went down this rabbit trail.
Yeah, you did.
Into the Addams Family. And even like we started, even he and I, and as I was talking about it and trying to get it out of my brain and into words, and I was like dun 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 dun, and it was like we just walked around, and we even found some of the episodes I thought would be funny. But apparently, in its beginnings, it was just a cartoon strip in one of maybe New York Times or somewhere where the artist was trying to come against culture at the time, modern, white, that 1950s, 60s. I think it was in the 60s is when it started, maybe 50s. I'd have to go back and look at the actual date. But it was in that time where women, still were traditionally working in, being at home, and
Not
that whole
sharing a
idea.
bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. So even the husband and wife and the Adams family, he's always pursuing her. He's like
Yes.
kissing on her arm, and it led to all of this suggestive behavior. It didn't go there, it didn't show things, but it led to that they must have had a very fulfilling marriage and a sexual partnership that was very fulfilling.
They did
And
it.
see, we're gonna be messing with this all this episode of it.
PG.
Um,
We're PG today.
yeah, we have keep it PG. Uh, so just as a disclaimer, on our side conversations, yeah, we go into these conversations. So you need
Yes.
friends in your life that are just not your romantic partners to talk about it, because it how do babies get here?
Yeah.
Hello. It's all
Yes.
in our culture.
Yes.
How do one
Yeah.
room cultures do it and make
Yeah.
it survive and all of that? So, but anyways, back to the subject matter. Um, I found an article about the author of that comic strip and then the sitcom. He was trying to challenge what looked normal at that time, because culture on television was showing the mom in the apron and the whole, she's greeting the husband at the door and she's this wonderful homemaker and all of this, white, prominent, nostalgic view that we have of what the 1950s was. But he was using this as like, these people were they were being very open of their relationships, but how weird families really are.
Yeah.
And how humor really can be used to help us overcome some of those hardships that we go through. So, like Morticia would go out and cut off all of the rose flower heads, but keep all the thorns, because she's like, "Oh, I love that,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and that challenged a lot of thought at the time. But they were very family and relational centric.
Yeah.
They loved having their kids' family come over, and everybody always thought they were weird, and they were weird.
Yeah.
There was a lot of weirdness going on,
Yeah.
but they loved to have dialogue with their kids who were trying to make friends with the normal. And yet, let's get real.
Yeah.
How many of us have what we would classify as normal families?
Right. Right. That's a
I
very,
talk
yeah.
Cassie and I talk to people all the time. Like, people are traumatized, people are messed up, people are this, people are that. Like, there isn't, quote unquote, whatever it is that we're looking for in normal. I think we have been shown some pictures in culture that what does normal look like?
Yeah.
What does Jesus say normal looks like?
Well, even when you look at the stuff that's been going on in the media about these people who look like they have it all together and then they're just not okay. So, how
Mhm.
much is normal, but they're really hiding behind this whitewashed image of
Mhm.
perfection. And it's
Yeah.
actually, they're not being authentic. They're disingenuous. They are so detached from their experience, their actual needs. There's so much stuff coming out now about the social media and the mental health and how it's really detrimentally impacting people. So, again, you try to have the perfect image, but behind closed doors, are you cutting roses off? It's an honest question. Maybe it's
You have a
something
cousin that has really long hair.
creepy glasses too.
My hair's
Yeah.
gotten long enough. I could probably recreate some of it.
Oh my gosh.
But I even sent you that article this morning that unfortunately Washington Post wants to charge, for you to
Yeah,
even look
can't
at
read
it.
it.
I don't know why. Like, I was able to read it, so I don't know why you couldn't read it. But they showed 60% of maternal parents, so women, right? Women are feeling lonely and disconnected
Yeah,
because we have tried to normalize certain behaviors, elevating that above relationship.
right.
So if I am the perfect parent and you have to be the perfect parent to be my friend, then and we've ostracized each other into this like we've segregated into these tribes. You've got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Hmm.
And I was on a Zoom call, a training Zoom call not too long ago, hosted by Marco Polo, where they had one of these brainiacs on there talking about these things, that if you can lower just be relational with one another. Like, just be happy to be with one another and
Yeah.
stop shooting on each other about how you should parent or how you should this. Most people just want to be seen, heard, and valued,
Right.
period. Because we're all trying to figure it out.
Right. Right. Right.
I read all the parenting books and went to parenting classes and tried, and then I got my fourth child, my feral child.
Yeah. Yep. Every family has one. No, I'm kidding. It's kind of
There's a
true though.
cousin it in every one of them.
Yes, there is.
She's got the hair to grow into cousin it. I'm just saying she could do it too.
She has really thick hair.
She
She
has
really
really thick
does.
hair.
But
Yeah.
it goes to show you this idea that we've become a people who are more concerned about presenting an image rather than being authentic to who they are. And going back to this whole idea of the Addams family, they were super weird. They were quirky. They were against the normal of the culture at the time. And that's why it probably sparked as much controversy as it did, because they were so out of the current to what people would consider as goals for life. And now that we're getting like the mental health studies and what they've been able to do, and just in this last decade, just in the last couple of years, what they're showing for how ill people are. That's we had that dialogue with Heidi on that episode talking about our bodies and how it's physically making us sick being in this fight flight space and
Mm-hmm.
being disconnected from each other. And again, we have these desires in us, these deep cravings of wanting each other, whether it's fear-based behavior that's keeping us separated, like, I don't want you to see my ick, so I must present this image. And if you don't have this image, I can't enter, or I cannot be challenged in my belief systems, or I cannot have something confrontational occur and I don't do this. Like, we've just lost our ability to be interdependent and integrate. So the idea of when Amber and I dialogue with other people about what our relationship dynamic has been like, and you have this dynamic with other people too. This is a lifestyle for you. This isn't just, I have one off. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
enter
Mm-hmm.
genuinely into relationship. I try to enter genuinely into relationship now that I've had this healing and these tools, and I've had relationship to practice being authentic and being genuine and just being in life. I'm in it.
Dun, dun,
He,
dun, dun.
yeah, I know that should be the. So, what does that look like? What
Mm.
is it? And I think for so many people, I started writing down a bunch of thoughts because I was like speaking from my heart and trying to put my perspective and my experience into a tangible presentation for people so they could try in some sense to conceptualize what it is when we talk about it. When we say this is how we do relationship, this is how Amber and I walk this out together, or when Amber says this is how me and these people walk it out
Mm-hmm.
together, what
Mm-hmm.
does it look like? So I don't know if you want me to start like reading some of my poetry, but
I just
um,
had a memory,
yeah,
and I was like, "Well, Cassidy, you're gonna have to stop cutting off all your flowers. Remember when you're a child?"
that was Mother's Day. That was another one of those days that our culture has put expectations on. Mother's Day is not a good day in my house. It's
And her kids
always.
are out there plucking her
Oh
flowers, and
my
I was
gosh, I had like one iris come up and I was so like it was my silver lining that day, and my kiddo just goes out and yanks it. And he goes, "Mom, I brought this to you." I was like, that was it. That was my thread of sanity. He yanked it out the dirt. I can't do this anymore. I'm done.
you're like Morticia. I have no flowers in the yard.
There's nothing. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. See, I blocked it out. I was like, that day just needs
It was
to
so traumatizing.
that day
Yes,
just needs to
my
not be.
child plucked my flowers. Yeah.
It's such a
It's okay. My
metaphor.
chickens went on my deck. It ate
I
all my
remember
flowers.
that too.
But lo and behold, I don't have chickens anymore for right now.
Yeah,
So
we'll unpack that. We'll unpack that memory for Amber another time when we can have a somber moment of silence. That's a whole thing. That's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. That's another it. The Rocky
That is,
Mountains and homesteading is a whole other kind of it.
it
It is
is.
challenging.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. All
yes.
right. Well, let's unpack this dialogue we had about it, the definition we tried to place on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll start reading some. So this is what I have narrated from my experience, like I said again. It is the context of interdependent, healthy friendships, is a shared way of being, not a task to complete, a role to perform, or a need to extract. I don't know if I should like pause there and talk about anything and specifically go into detail or just
Well,
keep
what
going.
does maybe define what does interdependent look like? Because
Yeah,
we are a culture that is independent.
right,
We
right,
celebrate Independence Day,
right.
right? We killed our captors.
Yeah. You'll never take me alive. No.
And we
But
ran west. Run
yeah,
west, young men. We
right.
ran west. We went
Yes.
wild. We
Yeah.
went feral for a bit.
Yeah.
For a
We did.
bit.
Yeah, we did. So, this concept of interdependence is an idea that in order for something to function in its fullest capacity, it requires support and input and a working relationship to be able to meet its fulfillment and standard of where it could be. So when you look at that on a biological level, we've talked about how cells cannot survive on their own. They are interdependent on each other and these pieces coming together to make it work well. So when you're looking at interdependence in relationship, it's the idea that we cannot function well in separation, which is different than codependency. So we can unpack that in another episode because we have unpacked codependency many times. So it's not, I need you to do this for me.
Correct.
I must do this for you. It's this understanding of ebb and flow for in order for this to thrive, we are working in harmony and balancing and contributing and participating and to tie into it, it's not a role or it's not a need to extract something. So it doesn't become this transactional thing. It's just we're doing this. We're in this
Mhm.
motion and we're functioning that way, and it's a wanting and a willingness to engage in that. So it's not, again, codependency. It's not a forced submission dominance behavior. It's,
I like to look at it as like an intertwining of life,
yeah,
right? Like when you get married or you're taking these two separate lives and you're bringing them together and you're creating this new space. It's the same, I think, with all
yeah,
relationships of the cell by itself will die. So I know that my presence and your presence together will produce life because that's what cells do. As soon as they come together, there's going to be life that happens, whether in the natural of cell and sperm or, bacteria that come together, or even just in when you study creation,
yeah,
this particular cellular body needs this other cellular body to coexist so that this beautiful earth that we have is functioning well.
right, right,
And we as humans in America are not functioning well.
right. That's not
The
us
petri
making it up.
dishes are showing us, right?
Yes. That's like my dad always says it. You cannot like what we have to say, but the data is irrefutable and it's not just one person submitting biased information. There's a lot of information becoming readily available
Yeah.
across multiple disciplines, spiritual, totally secular. Everybody's going, something's really messed up.
Yeah.
Everybody
And
is.
and we use blood panels and all these other data sources to tell us when a system is out of whack, right?
Right.
Like I just had my blood drawn last week to test things and they're like, you're normal. I'm like, oh, praise God,
Yeah.
thank you, Lord. Because that panel would reveal, hey, we're off balance here, chemistry's off here, this or that. God has given a way for us to show that panel has been taken and we're found deficient again.
Yeah.
So, all right, well,
Yeah.
let's get back into okay. Hopefully
Okay.
we've unpacked what interdependent looks is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Not codependent. I like what Dr. Dan Segal says. He's calling it intradependent. If we
Yeah.
could learn that our lives are to be intertwined with one another. Yeah.
Yeah. It is the space where each person is seen and honored as an equal in the kingdom value, regardless of gifting, season, or strength. It is relational, not transactional, meaning people are not reduced to what they can offer, fix, or produce. Instead, there is a mutual presence where simply being together is the value in itself.
All right, let's
And
pause right there.
yeah,
Simply being together is the value. Like that is the bottom dollar,
yep,
right? Not what I do, what you do,
right.
produce,
I came
what
here
our
for a
culture,
show.
right? A
Yeah,
program, this, right?
meeting.
I'm going to put my
Yeah,
money over here and I want this in return.
yep.
Or I'm going to put my time in over here and I want this in return.
Or I'm bringing the
Or,
dish and I want this from here. Or I've brought my piece to share. Now I want your piece.
right. Because we are a consumerism culture.
Right.
Like what I put in, I'm going to get out. We're a slot machine, right? What I put in, I'm going to get out. And unfortunately, that has translated into most of our human institutions, most of our society, is that we do not see the value of just being with one
Hmm.
another. Period. Like, not what's Cassidy going to do for me today,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
What's her feral children going to do for me today, right?
Yeah.
What's my feral child going to do for somebody else today? No, it's just we see the value of just being there,
Yep.
because her plus and my plus together is going to create a kingdom expression. I think it says here, creating that space where each person is seen and honored as equal in the kingdom value.
Yeah. Yep. So it also reduces this hierarchical status, which is something we've talked about a little bit regarding systems and institutional modern church practices. So all of a sudden the hierarchical is no longer relevant because everybody's on the same playing field,
Mm-hmm.
which is not me and Amber coming up with an idea. It's what Jesus said. It's
Mm-hmm.
all through the Gospels. It's all through the book of Acts. Jesus has said the least of you is the first. Like there's so many things in there where he says you need to break this down. You cannot be heading and lordshipping over people. You need
Yeah.
to, I am your head. Everybody else is relevant to the body.
He
Um,
even goes as far as to command it.
yeah,
You will not rule each other like the pagans do.
yeah,
What have we done? We have created pagan institutions and thought that that's God. Well, we've been doing that for years and centuries.
yeah,
Yeah, well, we've adopted some things that became transactional, that became hierarchical, became, what is my brain scanning for in the room?
yeah. Threat
Status,
and
right?
threat. Yep.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's whatever? Versus just like, who's here?
Yeah. Yes. Who are the people that I am here with? And we're all talking about Jesus together.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so it's this idea of being able to come together and not make it transactional, which again, we could probably unpack an entire episode on the transactionality in the church culture and how it fuels the orphan spirit and it fuels the narcissism and all kinds of stuff. Again, it's just in data. It's not me and Amber making things up.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's not us with our tinfoil hats sitting in a box. The togetherness isn't manufactured or curated. It lives in the simplicity of presence, unforced, unpolished, and real. There's no pressure to entertain, impress, or strive. The sacredness of the relationship is found in the shared ordinary, folding laundry, running errands, sitting in silence, or talking late into the night, and in the willingness to show up honestly and be known.
Mm,
So again, it's that invitation into the intertwining of lives. You know, some of the best relationships I've had are people who are just like, come on over. Things are crazy here, whatever. Hey, I'm doing this. Cool, I'll come. Whatever. It's this
mhm.
idea of I do not have to show up in my Sunday best. I do not have to show up Instagram perfect ready. I do not have to put on this disingenuous representation of myself, my children, my husband, where I'm at this day. And there's just a wanting and a desire in that. And there's an unspoken value in that. I will
Yeah.
show up as me, you will show up as you. And there's not a need to be in threat mode because we're not trying to impress or strive or give my sermon or do my teaching or have a miracle breakout or whatever. It's, hey, I'm just here and you're just
Yeah.
here. And that's freaking awesome.
Well, and that's what created the ministry name,
Right.
a
Right.
ministry of presence, right?
Right.
Like, because that's like, we want to be able to demonstrate that and show people that just your presence is the value.
Yeah.
That's what you show up.
Yeah.
Just show up and learn what this means to be countercultural to help the intertwining happen.
Yeah.
I think it's like maybe a good time to maybe help give some simple to-dos in this of like, what did we do to try to develop that?
Yeah.
We made sure hey, I'm running errands here. Okay, let's go. Hey, I've
Yeah.
been wanting to go see this. Do you want to go to? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if our calendar is so packed
Yep.
full of transactional things,
Yep.
I paid the money for this to happen, so I
Yep.
expect this, then you're not going to have time
Right.
for the whatever. You're
Right.
going to be so busy. And then we've created this idea that, well, if I've paid for sports, then I've got to do that, right? So that eats into your evenings and your weekends.
Right.
If I am doing these homeschooling things or these school things or these school activities, that's still transactional because I'm expecting my kid to get something out of it.
Right.
If I'm going to put them there. And so being able to swipe the calendar, wipe it clean and say, okay, God, show us what kingdom time and kingdom value looks
Right.
like
Right.
so that I can restructure my life to represent that.
Right.
If I don't have time to be relational with people and I'm doing all these other things, there's no value in those things.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, she's talking about removing everything from her life. There might be a time for that.
Yeah. But
But if we,
that's seasonal, and that also is by prompting of learning how to listen to God and paying attention to what is happening around you, because we're in a season right now where taking extra on that's not something he's put on our hearts is not serving us.
Mhm.
That's like you and I across the board the last few months of like, actually, I'm not just going to do. And that was even when I was in Colorado, reevaluating my commitments to different groups, my volunteer time, how I was doing these things. And it was, oh, you're just expecting something out of me. You're not actually interested in me, my life, where I'm at. If I show up to do my job, you're fine with it, but you're not actually vested in me. You're not spending time talking to me. I'm not spending time talking to you. We're not getting to know one another. This is literally for task and purpose.
Yep. So what did we do? We are in a culture that we have to go to the grocery store to get our groceries, right?
Yep.
We went to the grocery store together,
Yep.
right? We
Yep.
even did food ministry together of
Yep.
like, hey, we're going to serve the people together that serves our family, serves theirs. Oh, while we're here, let's go grocery shopping. So
Yeah.
we learned like these rhythms that are like what already exists in my life that could include people
Right.
that could lose the transaction and become intra-dependent or intra-connected with one
Right.
another. So, like homeschooling, right? Learning like, hey, you have a need, I have a need. Let's get together, let's fulfill that need, right?
Right. But then it's more than just come together and fulfill my need. It's a wanting to continue relationship outside of like,
Hmm.
hey, I do need to go to the grocery store. Hey, let's do a meal together. Do you want to go for a walk? Let's go hike. My kid's being insane today. Can I come over? I can't
Hmm.
handle my life right now. Or, oh my gosh, you're burned out. How about we take the kids so you can just get a break for a few
Yeah.
hours? Like
Or
it,
wait, I heard a need. My
yeah,
family, I need my house. I have got to clean my house. I can't
yeah,
meet with you because I'm stressed. And I'm like, hey, guess what? I got two hands and
yeah,
I got 2 feet. I can come over and scrub. Just being with you is the value,
right,
right? So what you got something out of me while I was there, that's loving one another. But
right.
we can't even learn how to love with one another if we don't provide the space to be with one another.
Correct. Correct.
So I
And
know
it,
that was an it trail, but I
yeah.
think it's good to give some pointers of like getting people to start thinking like, how do I change my life from being transactional into relational?
Yeah. Well, and this is what this next bit is. So over time, there grows a deep desire and willingness to spend time in the day to day. You begin to learn each other's rhythms, the way someone rests, works, prays, plays, and heals. And that learning becomes a practice of love. making time for one another becomes an utmost priority,
Mm.
not out of obligation, but because inclusion into this kind of relational depth nourishes not only the individuals, but also families and their
Mm.
children.
Mm-hmm.
The fruit of such friendships spills over, modeling to others what kingdom relationships can look like in real life.
Mm.
I can keep, I can keep going from there. I think that was exactly what we were trying to tell people,
Yeah.
like what this manifests into once you start being able to put your guard down, once you learn how to get out of threat mode, once you can say, "Hey Amber, there's some not great stuff going on and I just need the companionship of knowing you're in this with me, or I'm really struggling to get out of this headspace. Will you pray with me?" Or I really want that curry that you made. Amber, can I come over and you cook that for me? Just putting that out
But it
there
makes you
also.
stinky.
I know it does. We can. I love Indian food. Fun fact.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I grew to love it even more after being in Pakistan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like real,
I want
real
to
food.
yeah, I know that, we try to keep our podcast from not going too far. So we've kind of reached that cusp of needing to wrap it up. But I think before we reach that space of wrapping it up, is that in order for us to be able to do these things, sometimes we need to heal. Like
Yeah.
we really need to come into that space of saying, I'm not relational like I should be, like what scripture tells us to be. I think a couple of episodes ago we unpacked what hesed means, that
Yeah.
Hebrew word chesed, which means to be sticky covenantal love. Like that is what God has required of
Yeah.
us in order to be in the kingdom.
Yeah.
He says if you guys want the world to know that I came, you need to sticky covenantally love one another. Because then the world goes, well, why would you do that? Why would you give your time to that person? Do you know what they've done? Or why would you blah blah blah? I don't know. That's not what I'm here for.
Right.
That's they got to stand before the king on their own day and give an account
Right.
of their life. In the meantime, I have some talents to work on, and the king's going to require my talents to come under scrutiny. And if I bury that love that I'm supposed to have for my brother and sister, he calls me a wicked servant. And
Yeah.
I don't want to stand before him on that day and be like, "Oh, well, they made me uncomfortable or they this or that or they this
Yeah.
or that." Because that's revealing that I don't know what his love is.
Right.
Because on my worst day, he never turns his face away from me.
Right.
Right? He is so happy and so joyful to be with me. That's the joy of the Lord. And a third of the kingdom is joy,
Right.
joy unspeakable, right? Like he gives that to us freely and he asks us to give that to one another, that it's in the being with one another
Right.
is where we find our healing. It's where we find joy. It's where we find just this what my heart longs for.
Right.
Like, and it's healing.
Right.
But sometimes we need some guidance in that healing journey because we don't
Right.
know where to start. We don't
Right.
know what some of our wounding has done. Since
Right.
little, we've learned how to love, how to give love, how to hold back love, how to like cover ourselves with fig leaves like in the garden. God,
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of that. I don't, I'm going to cover this up. I hid myself from your voice and we hide ourselves from one another. We have deep shame.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're aiming for with this podcast, but also that thought of moving forward this fall
Yeah.
of that we want to walk alongside people, women, and help them unpack those deep wounds that might keep them from actually entering into this relational space
Right.
with
Well, and there's so much to be said about the fact that many of us are disconnected from our experience, and most people cannot effectively narrate. Like, I get this way in relationship and
one.
I don't like it, but
Hmm.
I don't know what to do about it, or this is just how I am. And the minute you start to get curious, like that's where people like Amber and I and our ministry team can step in and be like, "Hey, let's press in and unpack that together," because it is challenging when you start to recognize that there's behavioral patterns or your threat responses, because again, guys, our brain literally is just to keep us alive. So that's why it's constantly assessing for threat. Is this environment safe? Do I need to be worried? And if anything is suggestive of your wiring of what safety is, you're seeing your whole life through that lens.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't me and Amber again coming up with fun things. This is what's all coming out in the neuro world. This is what's all coming out in the behavioral health world. And they're having these dialogues about attachment styles, attachment theory, what is happening to us relationally, what has happened to us with social media. Like there's so many levels. And we have gotten this skill set for such a time as this for people who are just saying, I'm tired of doing that. I don't know why this happens, but I know I want it and I can't get to it. It's there. I can almost touch it, but I can't touch it. And I know for me, I felt like I was drowning in an inch of water and I'm like, I just want to get this inch. Like, why can't I cross this threshold? Or even with God, you saying, people like the Father's love for us doesn't go anywhere. But how long did it take me for that to steep into my spirit? I had knowledge, I had book knowledge, I did the things. There's so many people who do all the things and they know all the words and they can tell you every verse in the Bible, and that's amazing. But is it actually steeped into your spirit?
Yes.
Does that touch you? Is that a truth in you? Or is it just words you live by? Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest about our experience and normalize this idea of we do not have it figured out. Take off. There's a podcast Amber and I also listened to, and this one speaker basically said, we put shame on in the garden together. It needs to come off together. You
Yeah.
can, and
Yeah.
most people don't even know where that is coming from. What is this deep
Mm-hmm.
root? Oh, it's shame. I never would have put this into shame, but there's so much stuff biologically that you don't even, or you're not even cognizant of. So, guys, we just want to encourage anybody who's listening who's like, man, I'm tired of this. I know there's something here. I want more. I know I can be a better version of myself. That's this ministry. That's our heart for Empower Her. We're still accepting applicants for the fall. You can check that out at www.aministryofpresence.org. And you can go down to the Empower Her page. We have all the information up. We are working on doing scholarship and other things to help if there's any financial need that's coming up. But we just want to make this available because it has been life changing for Amber and I, and the people who are willing to receive this information. We're seeing fruit, and it's not for us to consume; it's for you. So,
And it's not transactional.
no,
I
no,
mean, there is a little because we operate in this world. So there is an Airbnb to rent. There is materials into this. So there is some of that. But we want to walk alongside people to help and show them that you can create the deep relationships that your heart desires.
right,
And if you don't have that in your life, then join us
yeah,
because we know that this will change your life. I just feel the need to bless whoever might be listening to today's podcast of if your heart is saying yes, or if there's still some of that, rising up of fear, because I know it's scary to think like, what? I got to take my fig leaves off for somebody else to see my nakedness. And oh, wait, we said we weren't going to go it today, but
I was just thinking that.
we said naked on the podcast.
Uh-oh. Parental
Uh-oh.
guidance suggested.
But in that transparency, in that vulnerability, in that saying, hey, I'm exposing my heart to you and trusting that God is going to protect it. I'm sure there's going to come a time that Cassidy's going to poke my heart and I'm going to go, ow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a time that I've done it or going to do it. But we've gotten to this place to where it was like, I've recognized that when it feels ow, that's a moment to go to God and say, why do I feel that way?
Yep.
And then to say, hey, I felt that way. Okay, well, let's unpack it. We've just created that space of like, we're not going nowhere, babe, right?
Yeah.
Not going nowhere.
Yeah.
I am dug. This is my favorite saying. I am dug in like an Alabama tick. It's gonna be real hard to get me out, but you're the one that's gonna pick and flick.
Yeah.
So, and, and that's okay. Like, because it's no longer I that live, but Christ that's in me. Like, it's not about the transaction anymore. It's like, no, I'm here. But
Yeah.
I just want to say, I bless you and I encourage you in Jesus' name, in Yeshua's name, to take this before Him and find a friend. Find a friend or reach out to us and say, I need that friendship. I need that encouragement. And join us in September.